Morning, everybody. 8:15 a.m. August 17th. Broke that cliff low in the Nasdaq that I talked about. I was talking about for the last couple of days. Finally fell off that cliff and caused some selling after the FOMC minutes came out. So that's very important. Okay, that's some pretty serious selling. So we'll see where we go from here. And Apple went under 177 and a half. Okay, Apple right now is at 176.50 something. So it's $1 lower than what I said we had to go. So it did what it had to do. Okay. So good morning. Welcome if you're new. Let's get into this. My name is Steven Gonzalez. Welcome to my channel. Use volume profile, market profile to find structure in the market. Also use supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, and the rolling most traded price of the week and the rolling most traded price of the month. Okay, use all those things to build a roadmap for scenarios in the market. Okay, price can fool you and you don't want to be fooled, right? So that's why I choose to use these levels. Okay, it keeps me on the right side of the market. Okay, please subscribe if you haven't already. Set an alert. Also, you can also give me a big thumbs up if you like what you see. You can wait to the end if you like. Also, you can follow me on Twitter. That's Alconzo719. Okay. So, what do we got? Let's look at the futures. Okay. So, we got silver up 1.49%. Crude had a big draw in inventories, so that's getting some love. Okay, that's up 0.83%. Russell up 0.44. Nasdaq's up 0.32. ES up 0.24. Gold's pretty much flat, but slightly up 0.0105. The Dow was flat to 0.04 up. 10-year yield has not reported yet. Dollar is down slightly. Bonds still being sold, 30-year bonds. So I expect 10-year yield to rise again. So that's down 0.37. The VIX is down 1%, down to 16. Still a volatile market. That should be a 1% move. Expect it. Ether, looks like Bitcoin and Ether are getting a little bit of a smacking here, down 2% in Ether and down 2.37% in Bitcoin. Okay, moving on to stocks I like to day trade. So BABA been getting hammered lately, but now China is saying they're going to do some stimulus to help out growth stocks, and BABA in turn is getting some love. Okay. Amazon. Let's see, they got some news here just to see. Ugh. Alright, now why that's Amazon's there. Okay. Nvidia is up 0.75. Remember, they got earnings. Snow up 0.44. Tesla's getting beat down. That's up 0.37. So let's go into the laggards. Netflix down 0.42. Netflix was down really a lot in the after hours yesterday. I don't know why. Okay, but coin, it's almost down 1%. So coin just can't find its footing. So coin's hurting as of late. Coinbase is hurting. Okay, let's move on to some top sector stocks. Walmart reported earnings. They beat earnings, so they're up 0.9%. What is this? Exxon's up 0.64. Qualcomm's up 0.42. Let's go to laggards. Chevron and United Healthcare. So I saw that CVS was getting removed from some type of healthcare plan in California, I believe, which is sending CVS down, maybe in sympathy United Healthcare. And I was just gonna do a cover call yesterday in United Healthcare too. Of course. So it was in a range, United Healthcare, and it probably bounced below or out of that range because it was just consolidating. But we'll see what happens today. That's a pretty wild stock, United Healthcare. So Adobe got an upgrade today, so I haven't really checked. We can check right now. Let's see what Adobe's doing. Adobe's up 1.78% on that upgrade. All right, let's get into the sectors. XLE's the leader. Energy, basic materials, semis. All right, everybody's kind of up. The only laggard is healthcare. The only laggard is healthcare. Obviously, United Healthcare down 2.89%. Okay. Okay. We could probably get into some news. There's not tons to talk about, really. Go right into this economic calendar for today. We have initial jobless claims in Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. Okay, so they're expecting 240. Previously, we got 248 jobless claims. So we'll have to see how that number comes in. That number comes in about 8 minutes. Okay. Let's go here. I already talked about the Chinese stimulus. They're going to do some yuan intervention. That's their currency. So that's really what's the news. I'm just trying to think what else I could show you guys. Let's see here. We already know. Let's see here. Oh, nothing really crazy news-wise. Obviously, the Fed minutes was mixed with the Fed members. Okay. So I'm pretty much going to move on to the daily charts here. Let's go to my express method of the daily charts. Let's do that. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so yesterday, full transparency again. I was all ready to short Google. 130 is a huge positive gamma level in Google. I wanted to see a break, and I waited a little too long because I didn't like what the market was doing. Had a bullish imbalance in the profile, and I almost pulled the trigger. I wanted to short at 130, but it got up to 129.80 like a bunch of times, and I was like, oh my god. And then it fell apart. But that's trading, right? You can't, you know, it wasn't like my pristine 10 out of 10 setup, but it was probably an 8.5 out of 10 or something. So, um, anyway, let's look at the SPY. Okay, so the SPY opened here, went up here, did a 50-day moving average, and to last week's lows, found sellers, and we closed at the lows. That's a bearish close, okay? Way underneath the 50-day moving average. Big red candle, or black candle in this case. Looking like we want that 437, right? Last month's lows and trend line here. Okay, does that happen? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, but you can see now these moving averages, 9 daily MA, obviously going down, right? The 20 simple moving average is pointing down. So we have to really see here what happens, right? And where are we at now? 440.90, almost 441. So we're right here. We're at the lower third of yesterday's range, which I would say is still bearish. Okay, we're not all the way up here. We're still accepting these lower prices. Okay, let's look at the Nasdaq. Now look at the NASDAQ, okay? There's the orange is last week's highs and lows. We broke, very important, right? We broke last week's lows and we broke last month's lows and closed beneath last month's lows. Now, where are we at now? 363.93, almost 364. So we're now above last month's lows. We're here, but below last week's lows. Still bearish, okay? This level, I'd expected the NASDAQ to kind of stop at a little bit. Okay, so, but this is a little bit of that level that I said, hey, if it breaks, you can't see it as clearly in the Qs. Okay, but you'll see it in futures. So we'll see. So we're underneath the 20, the 9, the 50, underneath all those moving averages. Now, a lot of people thought the pullback to the 50 would have been the buy. Well, now we're under it, closed under it, three candles under it. All right, so we'll just have to see what happens in the Qs. Now, the Dow finally broke out of that range that I talked about yesterday. Okay, look at this. Finally, there's last week's highs and lows. Now we're closed way down here, right? Now it's heading towards the 50-day moving average. Where is it now? 347, almost 348. So we're about right here. Now, United Healthcare is the largest holding in the Dow. That, if it opens up weak, the Dow will most likely hit 346. Okay, broke this trend. All right, so now this is heading towards the 50-day. It was one of the stronger indexes. Big level here, 346, 50-day moving average. It's a prior week high, prior monthly high. I'm sorry. Let's look at our key levels real quick in the Dow. Yeah, right there, 346, 50-day moving average, prior monthly highs. Not last month's, the month before, June's highs. That is looking a little juicy there. Okay. Let's move on to the Russell. Russell's the strongest right now, pre-market. Nah, but it's been getting hammered though. So, at one point it was the strongest index holding up, right? Way below last week's highs and lows. Here's last month's lows. We got the 200-day and the 100-day moving average down here. We have a trend line down here. Okay, this is very weak. We're looking at 186.670, 186.70. So we're about right here. Still bearish structure. Okay. Still bearish structure. Let's look at some levels here. Yeah, so we're underneath this 188 and we're back into this range. You see this range here? Big range. We're in almost the middle of that range. So this could take us all the way to 180. Any kind of pullback could possibly be shorted into to possibly go to 180. Not sure. But that is pretty. Now we got to put, there's got to be a trend line we can put it on here. Let's see. There's that trend that's been honored a little bit. Got a medium term trend here. Let's see. Okay. Oh, let me get those out of there. This is not my trend line drawings. Okay, so it broke this trend. So this trend's gone. Here's a trend line here. So let's see. That's probably a destination, I would say. 182. 100-day, 200-day. Have this trend line. Okay. Could possibly see that. Now let's move over to the triple-headed monster. 10-year yields. Boy, this is out of control, man. This is out of control. Bonds are just being sold. All right, yields are rising, boy. This bond market is telling you stocks must go down. All right, this is not good for tech stocks, especially. It's supposed to be horrible. This is supposed to be horrendous. Remember, this was up here. Look at this. We're almost here. This is when we made those October lows. We're nowhere near that. Can give you some perspective, okay? 10-year yield's just rising and rising. When is it going to stop? Don't know. The VIX. We have an elevated VIX, right? Remember when I used to talk about let's break 15? Well, we're up 16. We're holding around 16 now. 1% move expected, and next move, can we break 17 and hold up here? Don't know, right? Dollar. Let's look at that dollar, the doji dollar. All right, well, we're still above last week's highs and lows. We touched last month's highs. See that? So we're at last month's highs, selling off a little bit today. 200-day moving average right here as well. Just have to keep an eye on that dollar. Dollar goes down. That's good for crude. That's good for stocks. That's good for metals. Okay. All right. That wraps up triple-headed monster. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on to my buddy, my friend, the market profile. Let's look at some structure here. Alrighty. Because how we're faring here. Alright, here's our weekly profile. Distribution here, here, here. And look, we're starting to build out more volume here, right? Kind of pretty balanced. But this, okay, this is very important. Most trader price is here. Okay, that's 44.85. Yesterday we went right up into there. It was supply zone. I talked about it yesterday. And see how this skew, this profile, was bullish in balance? That's what made me hesitant on shorting Google. Because I thought it was going to do one of these. Boom. And also has a poor high. So poor highs usually get corrected. So the profile does not have excess at the top like that. It has a poor high. It has 2 TPOs. All right, so it's a double top in the 30-minute chart, basically. So that's why this, when we opened here and the profile looked like this, I was like, okay, we're at least going to do this. And then it didn't. That's what made me hesitant on the Google short. Otherwise, I would have shorted it with no problem. Okay. Okay, so that most traded price, 44.85, was resistance yesterday. Not a surprise. Okay, but now this, the most traded price was up here. Right? You want usually the most traded price to be down here at the lows. Okay, so let's talk about some structure here. So look at here. You have single print and a move down, right? The close was right here. So we close at the lows. Now this is a spike. Okay, talk about spike rules. I give all credit to Peter Rezenchek of Shadow Trader about these rules, but I like it. When you spike down like that, the next day, this area is going to be your area of the judge how strong these sellers are. Now we're pushing up a little bit right now. A little bit. Okay. However, as long as we stay in this range, that's usually sellers are in control. Right now, we're testing this boundary of the spike right now. Okay, so anywhere the market opens up in this area is bearish, right? The more you start to move back, and we got to be cognizant of the 50%, the 44125. This is 50%. Almost lines up with the lows here. So those are two areas that you have to keep an eye on. 44125 is 50% of that move down. So now we're getting extension here. This could be the end of this move up because you got very thin volume, right? Most trader price at the overnight was here. So you're going to get some excursion. Now, how hard do we go? I don't know, but this could be the where we kind of settle back in here for the open. I don't know what happens. Okay, so we got a poor high from yesterday. We got a low. We have a spike, right? Overnight low, overnight high. Now notice these are a bunch of nuances, okay? Overnight low. Whenever you make a new low in the overnight, see that yesterday's low, but then you made a new low into demand. This is usually not secure. Like the low, usually it doesn't end with an overnight low. I mean, I know the market's moving up, but it doesn't usually. I don't know if anybody lost me. I just saw that OBS said that disconnected and reconnected. If anybody's there, I hope you didn't get lost, and now I'm back. I'm not sure what happened to the feed. Hopefully everything's okay. I mean, I still don't see anything. It still says I'm live. So whoever's watching, hopefully nothing got interrupted. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a balanced profile. Opened here, we have the long and short activity, no edge. Okay, we're inside yesterday's session, no edge. Kind of get what I'm saying? No edge. So we just have to gauge on the spike. Can we stay within the spike when we open? Do we breach the 50%? Okay, if we stay under here, it's bearish, okay? And you got to start making to see if you can move the most traded price of the week down here to make another move lower. Now, I'm not saying that happens, but that's usually what happens. You move this down, you keep moving lower. This is most traded price has been moving down here to here, and then you notice we go lower, okay? So we have to see. Okay, so what I'm interested in, okay, if you're going to play from a bearish stance here, so let's just talk about the ES, okay? Now, balance profile, you got the extension. Now, can the market sustain this? Or do people start shorting this, right? I don't know. So, there is supply here. Now, this supply zone is really big, so I like to just put a line there because it otherwise makes my charts like look horrible. So that's just my preference. I just put a line, that's supply. And it lines up with the lows of yesterday and the 50%. Okay, so any kind of movement into this area is the line in the sand because you're looking at the lows that we broke from, 50%, and supply. Okay, so this is the test for me. You know, if you start to hit it and we can't get traction, you got lower highs, we're most likely going to go test yesterday's lows and probably tag the overnight low and see if this demand zone can be taken. If you do get farther weakness, 4,400 is the end of that demand zone, which is a psychological level, but you can go down to this negative epoch and possibly test down here. Okay, that's probably what I'm first would be interested in. Okay, second scenario would be, okay, we move up here, we take that, right? But then you got this poor high in yesterday's most traded price and the most traded price of the week, right? And supply up here that you have to take out. Well, if you get lower highs just start falling, same thing could happen. right? We might land here instead if you do that. Okay, obviously it could still go down, but probably land back here. Okay, that's what I see for that. Now, as far as bullish, right? I'd be hard pressed to want to be bullish up in here. It'd be tough sledding. Okay, it'd be very tough sledding. However, what I would like to see, maybe a push up, then we come down, make new lows, hit demand, make lower highs, then you can start to move back up and probably get some resistance up in here. Also, if we were happen to come back down here, not come up there again, same thing, right? You could hold, and then try to rally into this supply. That's what I see. If we just do this and holding, this is going to be tough to just start firing off. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So that's what I see for the ES. Let's move on to the NASDAQ. All right, NASDAQ's pushing into that support that I said needed to break yesterday. We're right at it. Right at the most traded price. Okay. So let's look at the NASDAQ. All right, let's look at our profile. So we have a balanced profile now. It's because we got that move lower, right? Kind of completed the profile. That's notable. Our most traded price of the week is right here. Now, something new on my charts. I don't know if you see it. This box here, green box. That signifies the most traded price of this year. This current year in the MNQ. I track the MNQ because it has more volume than the NQ. Okay? So this price here is the most traded price of this year. So that just shows you when we broke this level yesterday, why we got a nice excursion. Okay. Now here's the test. You're testing this level. Okay, so most traded price of to this year is 1521. All right, most traded price of this week is like 151. 151. So this is big time levels here. We got supply here, supply overhead of that, overhead supply above that. Okay, this is big tough sledding to get through for the NASDAQ. This is just a really big level. Okay, so now that we got that, now again, look at the NASDAQ. Made a new overnight low. See the low of yesterday? Well, this is the overnight low. Hit demand perfectly at the bottom of this demand. Perfectly. And we got a balanced profile now. No edge there. Look at the inventory. Long, short, balanced, no edge there. Okay. Spike. Here's the spike. We're above the spike. So that means that sellers have not been able to keep this price down here. Okay, it's still below the 50% mark, which is 15038. Okay, still below yesterday's most traded price. And we're testing the level it broke. Okay, so here we got yesterday's high, yesterday's low. Okay, overnight high, overnight low. So we're inside yesterday's range. Okay, so our lines in the sand is that midpoint, 150.38. That's the 50% retracement of yesterday. Okay, and you can just keep this level here. That's the bottom support that was broken. You can see that 1505 here. Okay, and you got supply here. So this is going to be a test for the market. Can you get over 50%? The most traded price of yesterday and the supply. And then you got most traded price of the year and the week above us. That's tough sledding. Okay? Can it be done? Of course. But it's tough sledding. All right? Now, we do have a weak high here, meaning that overnight low in the bottom of the support that was broken yesterday, and we got the most traded price of yesterday. So right here, still, like I just said, is a weak high. So this could cause a poof into this supply, but then we could roll over, right? So just keep that in mind. And we got an overnight low, usually not secure. All right. We got some single prints right now from that buying, which is not surprising. Now we can look at some scenario here. All right, what I see here. Let's go over the bull, just the bullish scenario. Okay, what I need to see happen for me to be any type of, any kind of long trade. Okay, I see more and probably this happening, coming back down, testing this demand, testing yesterday's lows. If you can hold, I can see it then moving back up into this area, and then you see if you can move up to here. Okay, now if we go straight up into here, I'm not interested in this, because this is just it's going to be choppy. It's going to be a lot of resistance. Okay, could it happen? It could, but then the market needs to push above these big levels, and you got supply here, you got 90 EMA daily. It's just going to be very hard, but if it does, then you're going to move higher. I don't know if that's in the cards today, but I got to give you guys a scenario. Okay, so bearish scenario, I think you know that right now, what I just said. So if we come into here, and even if we poke our heads above the most traded price yesterday and that level that was broken, but with them, there's supply here, and we get some tough sledding in here, and we break back under there, we're going to both test yesterday's lows, hit this naked VPOC from the past, and probably test the overnight lows, possibly go down to this next demand and naked VPOC. Okay, also, like I said, there's monster levels above us. You could go into the supply, probably tough sledding into the supply, into this most traded price, and if we even pop above it, come below it, start holding, that could be the move as well, down back to the lows. So that's what I'm looking at. Okay, hoping it all makes sense. And I'm going to show you guys really quickly hourly charts. Just give me one sec here, just to give you a different perspective. All right. All right. So we can also see, let's just look at the relative volume, right? So we're at pretty decent volume pre-market. 95% of volume over the last 10 days. That's pretty good volume. Okay, that's pretty good. Yesterday's was not as strong before FOMC minutes. It was not. And you just see the spike in that last volume there, right? So pretty good volume. So that's a pretty good sign. Okay, but let's go back to the 60-minute chart. Okay, so there's a trend line here. Okay, you can see the trend line that's been honored. So we got a trend line, right? Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then that was the last time it got hit, fell off, right? Now what else is here? What else is here? So if we look at this chart a little more closely, okay, I have a fib from these highs down to this low, right? So then look where the 50% lines up, right at the most traded price. The 50% Fibonacci of this move is right at this resistance here. Okay, that's one. Now the market's starting to move up, right? I mean, remember, we got supply right here, what I talked about, right? So, we're making higher lows here in the overnight. But this is the test up in here. Up in here. We can look at the NASDAQ. Okay, here's the NASDAQ. Also has a trend. Actually very nice trend. We can look at it in a 4-hour chart just to compress it a little bit. And I also wanted to show you guys the volume. Look at the profile. It's the same cliff I told you guys about. You know what? I'm actually going to put on an 8-hour chart. So we can really see it. You can really see the profile. Okay. So I just wanted to show you that. And look at this trend line. Started here. Actually, you could say it started here. Look, 1 resistance, 2 resistance, 3. So pretty powerful, right? So that's also lining up here, right? If the market comes up here, that's going to be a test of that trend. Okay. This in here is that big volume. And now notice over here, 15122 is the most traded price of this year. Most contracts traded this year is here. So now we're below that, right? If you look at it, you can see it, but the profile gives it to you great, right? Look at all this trade that's happened this year. All in here. And now look, we're back underneath it. So this is the line in the sand for the market. Trend line and that's big level. Okay. Now I can clear it up real quick because you might see a lot of levels on my chart here. So let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, I know that's a lot cleaner for everybody to see it. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Okay, here's the cliff. I said that, whoa boy, if we drop below that, we should get a nice move lower, right? We did. Boom. Where did we go? Right to this swing low, right? Over here. Right? But now this is the most traded price of the year. So this is the line in the sand. If we come up here and get rejected, we're probably going to go lower. We're going to test this node, right? And then we're going to go here. Test this. If we take it and hold it, well, we're going to probably go back to here. So it's very, very crucial for this NASDAQ. See, it's going to come right here right now. See that test? It's going to test this level. Very key. But the most traded contracts is at this level of the year. Okay, you can see all of the volume here that's been taking place here. That's the test for the market. Market down 15122 in the futures of the NASDAQ, okay? Let me just change this back. I'll change this back to an hourly chart. Okay. Let's see. There's the big test. Looking right at it. Okay, so So that's going to be it for me today. If you like what you saw, subscribe, set an alert. Go watch me every morning. Let's look. Let's map this market out together, right? Thank you, Colby. Thank you. As always, please give me a like. Help me out. Help my channel out. Be much appreciated. Okay. Always, you can follow me on Twitter at Gunzo719. Okay. So stay patient, everybody. Okay. We got big tests in the market, like I just showed you. It's about to test it right now. It's not, the market's opening in um, a little over a half hour. So, oh, thanks, Chief. Didn't even know you were there, Chief. Didn't even know. You might have just been a listener, though. But that's still fine. Anyway, everybody have a great day, and let's get green today. Let's get green. Let's get some big trades in today. And I'll probably see everybody tomorrow. All right, take it easy.